our first time through a pandemic. It was really challenging to step up and give the advice and whatnot. One of the hardest things I found is we have been remote since day one. So the company started in 2009. And so when the pandemic first hit, I thought, we're going to be fine. We're used to working this way, away we go. And you know what? I mean, work-wise, that's very true. What I didn't anticipate was the mindset impact that this pandemic would have on our own team and on our clients as well. So it's all fine to be very used to working remotely with a team for years. It's a whole different ballgame when now, you have your kids at home and you have to homeschool, or your loved ones are people that you just can't see. So that type of emotional toll really did impact our team through 2020. So that was how we came about it. We have survived through it. I'd like to share more of the good stuff as we move on, but that was definitely, we were stopped in our tracks, and it was pretty frightening.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. That would be actually when people start canceling their contracts. Jennifer, let's hear from you.
Jennifer Menard?
Yeah.
Right.
One is Jen, the other is Jennifer for the purposes of today.
Jennifer Menard and now Shand. I just got straight up work back and forth with these names.
Yeah.
Founder and CEO of Staff Shop. And we were heavily focused on hospitality and event staffing prior to COVID. We started actually expanding across Canada into the US and the Caribbean, my favorite place. Staffing a lot of flagship events, and we had a ton of events and business locked in for 2020 until the pandemic pretty much closed the curtain on our niche and forced us to shut down. And so luckily I come from a full service recruitment background, and we were able to pivot to staffing essential services and provide more essential resources and different service offerings for our clients using the same assets and resources we have in place. But it was scary in March. I think there was even a week where we had $0 in revenue come in. So look forward to letting you know how we've pivoted. And yeah, that was the main challenge, is the loss of revenue. And also actually, although we are essential, a lot of our clients still are non-essential. And so we still suffer the same losses and challenges as they do. So it's still a little tough, even though we've remained essential.
Thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Michaela, how was your 2020? Tell us a bit about your business.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michaela. I am principal of Ionica. It is a cloud computing and cybersecurity firm focused on mission critical use cases and environments. Our 2020 was okay. I mean, from a business point of view, it wasn't okay in any other way, I think. This is a global tragedy, and we, especially in the first half of the pandemic so far, that first, because our clients are across verticals, and so even it may be kind of common belief that tech companies all just have performed outstandingly through this, but that's not always the case. Actually, I would say that's probably not usually the case. Surely Microsoft and Google have done extremely well, and Amazon have done really well for themselves, but a lot of those, everyone else, it really depends. There's been a lot of companies that specialize in the tourism industry or in restaurant industry in terms of the verticals that they serve. So it really depends a lot on that. And so for us, our offerings cut across verticals, and it really the pandemic caused us to question everything, which I think is good and bad. And in one way, it's not the best, because we kind of questioned the principle of business, in that you do your homework, you make sure that you've got everything right, and your customers, your product, your competitors, and where you are, and you stay the course. But it's good in a way, and we didn't do that. It also, questioning everything really caused us to after years of running the business, have more certainty and confidence in the plan that we already had. So yeah, we had basically a flat year, which I consider more or less a success. And yeah, looking forward. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
That's great, Michaela. That's an interesting lens on 2020 and the experience that you've had. Kathy Chang, let's hear from you.
Hi everyone, my name's Kathy. I'm the president of Redwood Classics. We're an apparel manufacturer, proudly producing everything on Canadian soil, specifically in Toronto. So for us, 2020 was definitely a roller coaster year. I'd like to focus on the positives versus the negative, because we all know through this global pandemic, it hasn't been an easy ride. From the lens of diversity is a number of our makers here were of Asian descent. And as we know, COVID, came out of China. And so even very early on, all the way back in December 2019, we were already quarantining people coming back from Asia, from the holidays. With that being said, when March happened and it was a shutdown, we are considered an essential service, and the decision was, do we shut down? And you can only make decisions based on the information that we knew at that time, and it was supposed to be a 2-week shutdown. The 2-week shutdown ended up being to a few months shutdown. For us, because we do have inventory, we do make everything in Canada. We have finished goods inventory, we have raw material inventory, we have a factory. When our Premier Ford asked and went out publicly and said, anybody with a sewing machine who can help with a shortage of PPE, we definitely put our hands up. It was definitely not the easiest road to take. Long and short of it, for us, I personally focused all my energy on building a philanthropic program where we launched and we started making non-medical grade masks. We didn't have the certification. We weren't able to do medical grade. However, we have raw material, we have a factory, we had a small group of volunteers, and we answered a call to Michael Garron Hospital, a local hospital here in Toronto, asking and challenging the community to donate 1,000 homemade masks within a week to be able to help those in our communities that needed it. And we did a quick, had our volunteers come in, and we delivered 1,000 masks in less than a few days. And that kind of kickstarted our philanthropic program. Long and short of it, we started making masks to sell online to fuel this philanthropic. So essentially every set of masks that we sold online, we were donating it back to frontline workers, from hospitals to healthcare networks to, there's a couple of Indigenous groups. Again, you got to remember, timestamp was back in March, April. Nobody knew what was going on. There was major trade disruption. Government didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going on. I would say back then it was definitely crisis management mode. And we're really proud to say, we're still running this philanthropic program, and we've donated close to $150,000 worth of premium retail masks across Canada now. So that focus is a great focus, right? And that's why I guess I'm saying we're trying to take the positive lens, as opposed to it was a really bad year. Sure, things can always be worse. I think what's really important, and I hate to use this word because it's so overused, the word pivot, but really looking within your own organization and seeing what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. Within my strengths, how can we pay it forward if you are in a position to do so? And we were lucky enough that financially we were. And so I don't know if I answered the question in the sense of what we did, but yeah, there was a lot of challenges. There were supply chain disruptions. There was just a lot of, staffing is an issue, making our makers feel safe. That's another one. Right away, we started a COVID task force, which I'm a big part of. However, at times I do remove myself from certain decisions to make sure it's not fog decisions and it's the right decision for everyone and not necessarily just the business. So I found that a little bit, that was helpful as well.
That sounds great, Kathy, and kudos to you for all the work you did on the masks. I saw lots of marketing out there, and interestingly enough, I have that shirt that's behind you to your left. So I just noticed and thought, oh, that's pretty great. Jeff Wilson, let's hear from you next, please. Jeff shared with us earlier that he has an eye injury, and so he'll be going incognito for the panel today.
Yes, saving you all from me is what I'm doing. Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Wilson, CEO of Adaptability Canada. We have been in business since 2013, and our focus is facility solutions that deal specifically with accessibility, all aspects of accessibility. And that has grown over the years to be full inclusion. We do everything from building assessments to design guides, inclusive design guides. And we are currently working on software to allow clients to self-assess and manage their own real estate portfolios with little intervention from us. So that's the company. The 2020 was an interesting year, and we are fortunate to be one of the few companies that was able to grow in 2020. As background, being in the health sector, on the facility side of the health sector since 2013, we had the opportunity to leverage our existing suppliers and supply channels to offer PPE to the market, specifically to federal and state provincial governments, large corporations, large employers, that kind of thing. So from what happened in March was all of our accessibility clients basically completed their projects, put on hold our long-term projects. So we have several multi-year projects. They were all put on hold. So we shifted to PPE to continue to generate revenue, simply a survival move, but a smart one for us because we had the background in it. We knew facilities very well, and our accessibility and inclusive design knowledge always pushed for environments that were hands-free, that promoted privacy and professional distance. And also were friendly to folks who are germaphobes. So our brand fit well with PPE. And so from then until now, we have been able to build a network of suppliers that are mostly, I would say 90% North American, for masks, disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizing dispensers, including large capacity hand sanitizing dispensers that can serve places like airports and main transit stations and stuff like that. So that's what we've done. It's been excellent for us specifically that we did not lay off any staff. In fact, we were able to bring more people on full time, and we actually gave out bonuses over Christmas. So we're pretty proud of that.
Yeah, that sounds great, a bonus over Christmas. Thanks, Jeff. So my next question surrounds looking at 2021 now, and there's a very good chance we'll be dealing with the pandemic through the bulk of 2021. So I want to know what steps you have taken to manage that with the possibility of a further year of COVID-19 concerns. Michaela, can we start with you on that one?
Of course. Well, really, we're continuing our efforts. We're redoubling some of our sales and marketing efforts. We just hired a new marketing manager who starts at the very beginning of February next week. So that's very exciting, and staying in touch with our clients, making sure that we're doing everything we can to help them. When the pandemic started, we also began offering our clients some additional services at no charge, and really increasing our closeness to them to understand where they are, what they need, because some of our clients are doing fantastically and some of them are just barely hanging on. So we're really trying to support them the best way we can, and so that's one of the things that I think is going to continue, perhaps increase. We will continue to investigate our the way we do business, what we do. And I think I really like how Kathy and Jeff touched on philanthropy and contributing to society. That's something that Ionica has done from day one. It's baked into our business model and our mission for existing, and so we've continued to contribute to good causes throughout the pandemic, as we do every year. So I felt that was really, really important for us to do, no matter what, even if it means that I have to take a pay cut or do, you know, or we have to make some kind of other compensate for it somewhere else. Felt it was strongly that it was something we needed to do, and that's something we're absolutely committed to. Want to do just at least as much of this year as we did in 2020. So I guess it's really those things, kind of increasing some of the changes that we made in 2021, refining them, and even expanding upon them, especially the marketing effort. I really think one of the things that's changed for us in 2020 is that we have to, our client acquisition, opportunity acquisition comes more almost completely through digital means now. Before we had, you know, we could have lunches and coffees and drinks with people, and I would do a significant amount of business that way just by going to meetups, and people that we meet go, oh, okay, your company does cybersecurity, I need that. And we can't do that anymore. So it has added some complications to how we acquire clients, but it's forced us to do things in a more systematic way, and in a more and in a way that is more suitable to scale, to operating a business at a larger scale, which is something that we should, you know, that a lot of us, not every company, definitely, but our company has always had ambitions to be bigger. And so now this is, interestingly, this situation has forced us to reframe how we do what we do, not just how we operate, but how we acquire new businesses or new clients, and how we position ourselves in the marketplace, how we communicate our offerings to the marketplace and our brand to the marketplace. So yeah.
Thank you, Michaela. That's interesting that you've gone almost a circle in terms of making changes and coming back and deciding to just hunker down and do what's been working for you all along. Jennifer Shand Menard.
I can definitely relate to you. Oh man, it's so tough. Changing your name is so tough. I could definitely relate to Michaela, especially on the remote side of things and different marketing strategies these days. But we felt like it's a critical time to set up for success. We didn't waste any time. Time waits for no one. And so we got busy really working on some of the higher level tasks that normally fall to the wayside, and really investing in our team and making sure that we're, like, as a staffing agency, for us, keeping people out working is number one. And obviously employment is crucial to economic growth as well. So instead of cutting back, we've invested, we've allowed more opportunities for our internal team to train via master classes and a library of educational resources. And we even have a mental health program that I can talk about in a little bit when it comes to the difficulties that staff have had throughout this year. And yeah, we even have 2 open roles now that are very important to internal roles, a talent acquisition master and a chief administrator. So if anyone has any referrals, definitely send them my way.
Well, that's great. That's good to hear. Things are growing and working for you. Jen Kelly, what steps have you taken moving into 2021 and so forth?
The steps we've taken, first I'll talk about it on the team side, then on the business side. So for our team, what I've been saying to them more often than not has been that we're in this until it's over. So the thinking that, oh, it's just, you know, by this time, spring break, maybe by Valentine's Day, we'll be able to go for a restaurant with a restaurant with our loved ones. Maybe I've heard that a lot throughout the pandemic within my team. And I really wanted to let them know that, you know, it's going to be weird. until this thing is over. And it's okay if you're coming in with sort of less enthusiasm, or you're kind of wondering where your energy is or is going, or if it's going in waves, or you find your attitude kind of stalling out a little bit, that it's okay. This is for sure weird. But I do want you guys to get the mindset that we're in this until it's over. And so they understand that they can talk about anything that's weird. We can get them help depending on what kind of help that they need. But I really wanted to be open with them, as I want to paint a very realistic picture, as in, we're keeping the business going, we're here to help you, but it is weird. So be sure to understand that this is the reality, and we have to get some work done. So that kind of I guess straight talk has worked well with our team, and has been very, very well received. And it's been hard for me, because I thought, do I go super positive? Do I, what do I do in this kind of situation? And so the best thing that I have found has worked has been that. On the business side, the offering side, prior to the pandemic, all of our services were sold on a year-long contract. And what we had found through the pandemic, and what we're finding now, is there's a few clients that we have, or that we're coming in contact with, that do have line of sight 12 months out. So we have reduced, the need for that back to 6 months, back to 3 months. We do have a rolling 60-day offering as well, so folks can get right into a marketing or sales program. And on day 50 of the 60-day program, we can have a talk and say, okay, what's line of sight 60 days out? Let's keep going. That kind of thing. So those are the changes we've made.
Very pragmatic, which is a great approach. Jeff Wilson, what steps have you taken with Adaptability Canada going into 2021?
Right. So we look at this whole thing as just advancing what's already an evolutionary path for us. We're not a company that's static in what we do. In fact, we're based on constant innovation because of the nature of the design that we do. So on the HR side, to support staff, we did a number of things, and we are going to be doing more. Number one, we've always had a policy for mental health and other conditions that they could have basically unlimited time off. That hasn't been abused by anyone in our company. We've had a number of staff take 2, 3, 4 weeks off to deal with depression. The only thing that we ask is that they check in with us, that they stay in contact, that they work towards the goal of coming out of the depression better. And so that's one of our HR policies. It's always worked well. Being a company that's not only disabled owned, but has a majority of employees that are disabled, it's been challenging, but in a good way, to come up with new, better ways to help our staff. Some of the little things, we gave them PPE, obviously them and their families and friends and neighbors, and whoever needed PPE, we gave it to them. We didn't want people getting anxiety about not being physically protected with PPE. So that's one thing we did. The other thing we did is we offered grocery service. If people were too busy or too afraid to go out to stores, we offered to get groceries for them. Third was technology. We made sure everybody working from home was set up with technology, including getting second screens and monitors to make working easy and stuff like that. And then we looked at workload and what people were actually doing. We didn't want someone stuck on 3 or 4 weeks of monotonous work that could possibly contribute to depression. So we looked at what does meaningful work look like for our staff, and making sure that we had a good balance in there. And lastly, we allow them to work whatever hours they want. during the day. So if someone wants to take a Monday off, they can. They want to work Sunday for 12 hours and take 2 days off, go for it. What we produce is what we count, not how we got it there. So that's been great. On a company strategy level, we have advanced our plans to develop software. So we're again fortunate that we have the revenue generation potential to invest in our software, which is the future of our firm this year, and that's what we're doing to get basically a beta product out to market with 3 or 4 clients on it, paying a song and a dance to be on it, and just test things out and make sure it all works well. The other thing that we're doing is we started at the beginning of COVID, basically an ongoing project to do research into people's needs around inclusion, diversity, accessibility. That has been ongoing. It's now hundreds of interviews, great data sets, and what we're doing is we're using that data and data we continue to bring in to create our designs, and that is going extremely well. So for example, we're looking at how do you do proper faith rooms and round rooms for people of all abilities, all backgrounds, all identities. So these are the kind of designs we're getting into, and it's exciting work. So that's what 2021 looks like for us. It's a lot of internal programs to create a superior product for the marketplace, a superior solution. So,
thanks, Jeff. I'm sensing a bit of a theme actually among these companies. We have a question from the audience, so we're going to take priority. But Kathy, I'm going to have to ask you to answer it first because I know you've got some great answers for this. The question is, thank you for sharing a little bit about how your business has handled the pandemic. Could you speak to the strengths as a diverse-owned business that made you stand out in your industries?
100%. If I may, I would say, we've been diverse certified since 2014 under CAMPC, and now we are also WeBe certified. We're also WeConnect certified. We are also a national member of CGLCC, and Deirdre, we're going to be talking about IWCC in terms of our company and how we can get involved as well. Essentially, I guess where I'm going with this is it's definitely an investment. I'm really glad. One of the reasons why we got certified years ago was we only work through a reseller channel. So we're tier 2 capacity within the supply chain under a corporation. However, I was introduced to supplier diversity, didn't think it was a real thing. In 2014, I was also fortunate enough to be inducted in the class of the EY Winning Women program, in which I was sponsored to go to a WeBank conference and went, holy smokes, this is a real thing. The more friends I've made in the industry, in supplier diversity space, and a number of different professionals and corporations and just, council members realize that this community is beyond just about my business and your business. It's about all of us. It's about helping each other elevate our voices, amplifying our voices so we can be part of a really large, diverse supply chain and realize that we can make a difference. So speaking specifically towards 2020 and how we got involved with the philanthropic program, some of the corporates got word that we were selling these masks, and through their normal supply chain, they weren't able to get it, or they weren't able to get it as quickly. And so we stepped right in. Again, we work usually only through a tier 1 capacity in the PPE situation because there was a shortage everywhere. And this, at that point, you got to remember, timestamp again, it was kind of a little bit of a health and safety issue, right? So for those particular programs, we did help a number of corporations, from Essentra to RBC to Coke to Ricoh, which was amazing. Was a few of these inquiries actually came through our website, and they came through our supplier diversity email website. So that means corporations were looking for vendors that were not part of their everyday because they weren't able to get the supply. And so I think that's where certification does help. But you only get you will only get something out of your certification if you put in the resources for it. That's why I wanted to share that. We've been in the supplier diversity space since 2014. And it's constantly giving back to the community, and wanting each other to be successful. So that would be, my advice. And, in my humble opinion, doesn't mean I'm right, but this is kind of what we've been doing. And we do it because we believe in it. We're not doing it because, oh, it's nice to have the certification slapped onto our website. It's not that at all. I think if you're in the community, you believe in supplier diversity, you as a member of this community have a responsibility to use your voice and amplify all of ours together. I don't know if I think that answered it, right?
Yep, I love it. Thank you, Kathy. Would anyone else like to speak to the strengths of being diversely owned that made them stand out during this pandemic?
Yeah, I was just nodding my head like, yes, Kathy, I agree. What you give, I feel like you get back tenfold. And we've been certified with WEB, CAMC, and CCAB. I'm Indigenous and women owned, and been lucky to win a few awards for special recognition. But it's not about us. It's more so about how we took this opportunity as an agency to kind of look at our workforce, and because we recruit and deploy usually thousands of people across Canada when there's not a pandemic, it's a good opportunity for people to voluntarily and confidentially self-declare so that we can continue to measure ourselves internally for just ensuring that we're providing equal employment opportunities, equal pay, decent work, etc. So we spent a lot of time on our diversity and inclusion program, in collaboration actually with RBC and their expertise and letting us know what they do internally. So that's been really great. And then, yes, putting ourselves in a category as a diverse supplier has certainly opened quite a few doors with big business. And then on our side, we're also now careful as to who we work with and what suppliers we hire. And we make sure that we've got a certain percentage of suppliers that are diverse in terms of the spend that we're kind of focused on for 2021.
That makes a huge difference, I think.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, I think it's important, all of us in the community, we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. You can't use your certification and use just the benefit of it. You need to give back. And if we don't give back, we're not going to be strong together.
For sure.
So this question actually kind of ties in with one of the other questions that we had on our list, and that was, why did you choose to become certified, and how has your diverse supplier certification been a benefit to you during COVID? So Jen, Kelly, let's hear a little bit from you on that, as well as speaking to the strengths of a diverse owned business that made you stand out in your industries during the pandemic.
Absolutely. So I was introduced to the concept of supplier diversity about 3-4 years ago. We've been certified by WEB 3 years ago. We're just coming up to our anniversary in this month. In understanding what supplier diversity stood for and what it meant, it was a brand new concept to me. And I got some very good advice early on. And it was from someone who said, if you get certified, it is a ticket to the dance. So you will have doors open to you that, not being certified would not be open to you. However, it's up to you to walk through the door and make it happen. So you've got to build the relationships. You've got to, deliver on the contracts that you win. You have to. It's not a free ride. And it's really interesting in that it is one of the associations that I am involved in, which really does its best to get everyone working together. And what I mean by that is we're a tier 2 level supplier. And so to have the encouragement from WEB to, okay, you know what, if you right now, maybe a first step, a second step is to partner with another tier 2 on an opportunity, or become another tier 2 supplier, buy from your fellow tier 2s. So that was very, very, very encouraging. I said in the beginning that we are a marketing and sales company. Our sales office is a separate company headed up by a Métis-owned business owner, who's a guy actually. And so it has been really, really helpful for us to be able to help companies during the pandemic, marketing and sales, and have the supplier diversity behind us. Weeby has been really, really helpful for us, giving us the platform and ability to host a webinar and share some of our expertise, our thinking, and our wins, I guess, late spring of this year. So that's been really very, very appreciated.
Hey, that sounds great. Now, Michaela, I know you're just recently certified as a diverse supplier. Why did you decide to get certified, and what has this been a benefit to you during COVID?
That's right. We actually became CGLCC and WBE certified around the spring, summer of 2020, and I think so we're really still, I guess, doing the work, as has been mentioned, and putting that work in. We haven't, I wouldn't say we've realized any tangible business benefit from it yet. But I think the points that have already been made about that are very important. I mean, number one, I think it's important to be a part of this community and to identify yourself as a diverse supplier. So people can see that there are diverse individuals that are running businesses. They're doing a good job. They're providing quality services. You can trust them to provide PPE or to handle all your technology or to run your marketing campaigns or to staff your business. You can trust them. You see them working in action, because the reason why these organizations exist is because strikingly a lot of people don't yet believe that, and so we have to present ourselves to the world so people can see that we are here, that we actually exist, and that we can do, and we do great work. And that also gives other potential entrepreneurs the confidence to see that they can do it. Right? When you see other people model things that you might want to do, then you have that realization and understanding that you can do it too. So I think that's so important, regardless of any business benefit to it, that just we are present, that we participate in our community in every way, in our communities in every way. Intersectionality. So I think that's important, and I also think that it's important for with regard to just hard numbers. How many sales are we going to make by doing this? If that's a concern, and it should be, because this is also a business decision. I think the mindset we're taking to this is we're thinking of it on a 5-year time horizon rather than a 1-year time horizon. Oh, I signed up last year. How many sales did we get from this? I'm really more thinking of it as, what are all the benefits, all the business benefits to this effort, to this activity that we're doing, this participation in diverse supplier certification and membership. What are all the benefits to that over a 5-year time horizon? And I think that's a more reasonable way to look at it, because when you look at almost any marketing or outreach activity that you do, they all take time in order to bear fruit, to realize benefits. So that's, I mean, I guess that's where we are with it, and I believe that I believe that based on everything I know about it, I believe that we will realize sufficient benefits to being certified over that 5-year time horizon. And why we haven't done this sooner is simply because we're a relatively small company and have something I've meant to do for years, and it took a pandemic and a little bit of a scare to say, wait a second, we need to regroup and do everything we can to make sure people know who we are, we're here, and also sometimes put a little bit of scare in you, maybe compels you to go back to your communities, to these kind of this safe environment where people know you and understand you and accept you for who you are. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's great, Michaela. I'm conscious of our time, so I wanted to see just from each supplier if you can give us one idea of how government and corporate members could support you better right now. And we'll start with Jeff. Just one idea, because we only have a couple minutes left.
Oh, sure. I guess just retaining your empathy at a time of crisis, right? You're dealing with human beings. The way you deal with them needs to be human. So when you get bogged down in process and make things difficult for small companies in particular, you wind up driving them away and sometimes out of business. So right now is a precarious time for small business. I think every large business has a duty to act as responsibly as possible. You know, and that could be something they retain going forward as well.
Kathy, one thing.
Is it just one thing? There's so many things.
I'm sorry. We
Okay. I would say keep investing in capacity building programs. One of the things when Michaela was speaking, I was tearing up because I know I'm not the same person I was 6 years ago when I first started my supplier diversity journey. I've had the fortune to apply and be part of a number of development programs, and I know that I was able to go through the crisis because of all the capacity building that the corporations have invested in me personally. And when you invest in the principal, you are investing in a community. So I apologize. I just want people to understand getting certification isn't just helping you get outside business. It is going to help you become a better leader of your community, of your business. But you will only get it if you invest in yourself, because I can tell you right now, these councils exist, the corporations are putting it in there, and they're investing in us. So my humble opinion, corporations, please do not stop investing in us.
Jen Kelly, one thing.
One thing, take our calls as we're reaching out to either strengthen or build our relationships. At least I can promise it'll be an interesting and really fun Zoom call.
Awesome. All right, Jennifer Menard.
On the big business side of things, I would say maybe take it easy on the criteria. Don't judge us by our size. When it comes to the government, if they could make it easier on grant eligibility, it's even though we're essential, it's still very difficult to succeed during these times, and so some of the grants are a little hard to grab a hold of. And I can speak from the Indigenous side. A lot of the AFIs are great, but high rates, and so if there's anything the government can do there to support them a little more, so that even though we have to pay higher rates, maybe there are better grant programs within the AFIs.
Okay, Michaela, one thing.
An idea for the government is to stop being so shy about enforcing isolation measures. The pandemic is only still exists because people are not isolating and following the rules.
Okay.
In the pandemic, follow New Zealand's model.
Thank you, Michaela. And lastly, I want just 2 words from each of you about what you've learned over the last 10 months about being a leader. Just real quick, everyone give us your words.
Lean on your team, no one makes it alone.
Thank you.
Mine is consistency, and I've discovered the superpower of self-awareness.
Good, nice.
Mine would be sure to take care of yourself.
Yes, I love that. I remember that in our conversation. Jeff.
Empathy and persistence.
Good one. Michaela?
Start with the heart, then do your research and your homework, come up with a plan and execute it, commit.
Nice. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here today. This was a great conversation and a great discussion. I know that all of you would be willing to share your expertise with other suppliers moving forward from here. So everyone, please feel free to reach out to these business leaders. I also want to let you know to be sure to tune in to our next session that's starting right now, where you can learn more about resources available through the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario and Canada's other regional development agencies. So you can join that on the Sessions tab on the left-hand side of your screen. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Here.